You can understand the concept. The same thing here, when you publish a paper, how we can identify or recognize your country based on the research publication. You publish a paper in nature, we we follow you. When you publish a paper in ACS, when you publish a paper in RC, very top high-ranking journal. So that is importance of this publication. So that every year, the SIMACO listed out this country. So this country is the top level. Like this, I made for this 250 countries. Okay, and how we can improve that writing skill? In the university, we can improve our writing skill from undergraduate level. Because bachelor students, they are not aware of the publication, but they are aware of the presentation, right? Yes. So they can practice. They can practice how to write a thesis. Okay, so they can, we can give that input, or we can give that guidance. We can give that information to writing this thesis. Okay, so and another level, master and PhD. So different level, they can learn how to write a paper, how to write a research proposal, and how to write a thesis. So this is the training, importance of writing skill. If you are not develop your skills, it's very difficult. There are two skills very important in the research. One is writing skill. Another one is speaking skills, the language skill. You cannot speak, you cannot deliver your content to the participant. That is very difficult. If you're a very good teacher, you cannot speak well. That means you cannot share your information to others. That's big challenges. Okay. So that this is very important. How to write a thesis, like master level and undergraduate level and PhD level. So that you can understand that. So what you needed. Actually, everything is different, right? Thesis is different and then publication is different. Okay. And also the project proposal and research report. Sometimes you have to submit your research report. Then you can also follow the different template. Not the same for manuscript, right? And then what are the strategies you have to follow that? When you start your publications, what are the strategies you have to follow that? Like what to publish, that is very important. What content you have to publish. Because the publications, different type of publication. Maybe I will show you what are the type of publications. And where to publish, that is million of questions. Because now there are so many journals. I know that Indonesia has started so many journals. In every institution have their own journal. The journal, whether it is indexed by Scopus or not, that is very important. Because if you publish paper in two index journal, that only you are, it's valid. Otherwise, it is invalid. Like what two kind of journal means? Publish means Scopus index and then Web of Science. That is two is very important. So where to publish? And also we can publish your research findings in terms of conference proceedings. And then book chapter, thesis. So these are all for publication tools. Where to publish your findings. Okay. And then how to write and what is the impact of your research? That is most important. And finally, what are the factors influence of the impact? So what are the factors means? If you do research, the topic is very important. If you do energy related topics, you get more citations because very hot topic. Energy, environmental, and biomedical. If you work on very few physics, theoretical physics, you cannot attract the audience. It's very right subject, right? You know, like theoretical simulation or other things, you cannot like looking for the people looking for, like the research is looking for more hot topic. Which one is very good for society? That is very important. The societal applications. What are the societal applications? Means solar cell, supercapacitor, battery, fuel cell technology, hydrogen production, CO2 capture, and then wastewater treatment, biodegradation. So these are all topics more interesting. In like biomedical applications, you can go for tissue engineering, drug delivery, and cancer treatment. So many applications are there. If you do research on material-based or theory-based research, theory-based research only for conceptual. You can develop the theory and concept, right? You cannot go for application. So now the people look for application-based research, not theory-based research. The research is different type of research. Theoretical research, applied research. So what you are doing, that is very important. That is impact. Impact means environmental research will give you more impact. So like after you are a very good researcher, then what they will see that you are like performance. Like they will see your performance like in terms of citation. Once you have a lot of papers, you publish more number of papers. The people ask you what about your citation, what about your extension. That is very important. Other factor. How will you get your citation and index based on your research topic? You are doing very hot topic. That means the people more attractive to your research. So you will get more citation. And if you get more citation, automatically your H index will be increased. Okay, I will tell you how to calculate H index and how to calculate impact factor. Some of the things I will discuss during this information. These are very important. Guys, very important thing is two type of research now we have made. What two type of research? That means academic research, industrial research. Industrial research, they don't look for publication, but academic research mainly we look for publication. When you do research, when you get any findings, we can go for publication. But academic research is only in terms of publication. Industrial research only in terms of product. They don't look for the publication. They look for publication very limited, not much publication, because they cannot share the secret of this, methodology and approach, right? That is very important things. So what we can do that? So your research is how we create an impact on the, academic or industry and as well as environmental or healthcare in the different aspects. That is very important. And then what type of, journal levels? As you know that index journal. As I mentioned that there are two type of index journal. What two type of index journal? Web of Science and Spoken. The remaining journal we may call it as non-indexed journal. That means some journal indexed by Google Scholar, some journal indexed by research paper, and then more OPT, like open access directory journal. That means not indexed by anywhere else. So if we publish non-indexed journal, means your publication is not counted in the profile. You can show your paper okay, but when you go for ministry application, ministry will look for these two kind of publication: Web of Science and Spoken. When you go for promotion, especially they look for Web of Science, not Spoken. You understand, right? This is two kind of like index journal, non-index journal, and conference and book chapter. Okay, how we can publish? What is the journal process? Journal follow there are two kind of process: peer reviewed process, that means support open access, and also subscription. If you want to publish any impact journal, there are two options there: subscription and open access. If you open access, your paper is everyone see. Get more citation. No need to pay for review your paper. That means open access. But some paper you can readers cannot see your paper. That means they have to pay money and see your paper. That means subscription. So that every institution have subscription for journal. If ITS have subscription of many publishers, that means you can easily view the journal. If you are not subscription, you cannot view the journal. That is very difficult. Okay, so this level for this type of, and this is as I mentioned that this is guarantee of open access journal, which means that like lots of non-index journal, it is under this category, and Scopus journal, this one, and ISI. ISI is very important. That is the person. Okay, how to calculate the impact factor? The impact factor is variable or constant. Impact factor is variable or constant. Variable. This year, impact factor of journal is 5.2. Next year, it is 6.2 or 4.8. That means it's changing the impact factor. How we can calculate such kind of impact factor? This is the Thomson calculation. We may call it as Thomson Booker impact factor, right? How we calculate it? We take any journal. We take any journal of impact factor. The 2 years of publication. How many papers published 2 years? For example, you want to calculate impact factor of 2025. That means you should know that 24 to 23, how many papers published and how many papers cited during the 2 years. So, what is the impact factor? First year published 40 papers, second year published 60 papers. Okay, so the impact factor means what is that? Total publication 100. So, the total citation is 100. So, total publication to the citation. That means impact factor is 100.
Siapa yang ikut anu? Itu masih
total citation 2 years citation to the 2 years publication. Then you can divide it.
Juga dimatiin untuk saya cek lagi tanggal 5. Oh ya wes.
That's why the impact factor sometimes journal publish more number of papers, that impact factor is very high. Sometimes journal is not publish more number of papers, that impact factor is due to the number of papers published.
16 Mei, Pak.
Okay. What are the journals? Very top journals. As you know that Which one journal is very highest impact factor? You can look at that 500 and then 70, 60, 50, no one can cause 500 impact factor. The top, higher one. It's very difficult. 74, 64, 54. We are not able to publish paper in 5 or 10, which means that our paper standard, right? Not that much standard. If you go for high ranking, that means the paper has. Okay, so we can classify.
Spring, your voice not clear, so bring.
Okay. You must like different categories of journals. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. When you have how we can differentiate for quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 based on the impact factor. If more than a 5 or 6 above 10, we under this Q1. And then less than a 5 or 3, Q2. Less than of 2, Q3. One impact factor and less than one impact factor, Q4. This is top 100, top 75, top 50, and top 25. And then what purpose, as I mentioned, that we can make it for the yeah. What are the type of papers we can publish? Different type of papers. The different type of papers is journal paper, proceedings, magazines, lectures, patents, and then also thesis, book chapter, books, and so many things. You can look at here from this side how many papers published in journal article is 84%, and conference article is 12%, and then letter is 3.9%, 0.25%. So you can see that this site you can get this information about that type of publication. And then what are the type of publications we can publish? What are the type of publications? Type of publications is we can publish research paper. Research paper is 2 categories. What 2 categories? Original paper, short communications, letter. We can classify in 3 categories. What is a short communication? What is a letter? What is the original paper? If the original paper, that means the paper contains more words. More words means what is that? More than 5,000 words. And then the figures more than like 8 or 10, more than above 5 figures. That means we may consider that paper is an original paper or research paper. Then when we will consider for short communication letter, the same original paper, but the number of words less than 5,000, which means it's 3,000 words. 3,000 words, the figures only allow 4 to 3. That means letters or short communication. The original paper based on your content. If you have more figures, like more than 8 figures, you can go for research paper. But the same original paper, you have only limited figures, only 3 figures, limited number of words. That means you can go for short communication and letter. And third category is review paper. What is a review paper? It's not an original paper. You can collect the information from already published article. Then you can publish a paper, is a review paper. And then letter and other format is there. Before you start your paper, then you may ask your supervisor what type of manuscript you prepare. Then you can decide whether you are original paper or letter or short communication. Okay. How many of you are aware of this thing? Research article, reviews, letters, what is meant by errata? Anybody knows what is the meaning of errata? Errata means what? If you did any mistake during your publication, after publish your paper, you may ask editor to correct the mistake, to change the mistake. Then after you correct the mistake, they publish in terms of errata. If you, for example, you did mistakes in the equation, or you did mistakes in the other, content, like scientific error, if you are not seeing that error during your proof checking or publication, once your paper is published, okay, later you can see that. Later you can correct it. So that is means what is called errata. I can show you how we can publish the paper. The review article, you can guys look at here, they mention the top review. And when you go for this original research paper, they mention the paper. The paper is that means that the research paper or original paper. Then you can follow that this one letter. You can see that letter means this is start communication. This is a letter. And also you can see that command. What is the meaning of command? As you know the meaning of command. That is also nowadays the many papers are published in terms of command. You know what is the meaning for command? What is the meaning for command? The publication. Anybody is aware of that? If you did any mistakes in the publication, if our other reader will find out the mistake and they can publish in the name of command. If you know the answer, you can respond to this command that you can also publish. It's a replace. So nowadays, more paper published by command. You can see the commands on this paper. They written some wrong information. They publish by command. Same thing, many journals they follow that commands on this concept. If you did any kind of mistake in the publication, be careful. It's very important. The readers check your paper. They found that your mistake, they can publish in terms of command. And also reply to command. If you know the answer, you can immediately answer this command. Then you can publish again. So different term of publications nowadays. And also, as I mentioned that erratum. If you did any mistake, you can publish the erratum. Formula or affiliations, whatever you did any mistake, your name. Sometimes if you want to correct it, you can go for erratum. This is called proceeding. Okay. Before start, what you should do before starting writing your paper? You should follow that. This is very important to identify these two very hot research topics. Hot research topic means what? Hot research topic means what? Hot topic means what? Very simple question. Hot topic means what? What needed for society? What is more, most important thing for society? Huh? Yes, that means the topic. Many topics there: energy, environmental, healthcare. So many topics there. So which topic you are doing? That is very important. Energy or environmental is a broad topic. In environmental, I have subtopic. What is the environmental subtopic? Water splitting, CO2 conversion, CO2 capture, and then wastewater treatment, absorption. So many topics is there. So you have to identify right topic. That is very important. Choose the odd topic. After choose the odd topic, what you can do? If you, for example, you want to do for CO2 conversion, CO2 convert or hydrogen production, then what the people are done, you collect the information. This is second step. So first choosing the right topic, and second you can collect the research, review, and third one is you make outline what you are going to do. For example, the material identification, and you can identify that methodology, and you can make a plan. What are the characterizations you have to perform, and then what application and what methodology, what procedure you can read, and you make the outline. After you done your experiment and all the things, then you make that information. Actual writing. So first you can write your methodology, and you can write your discussion part, result and discussion, and then you can write for introduction. Finally, you can write to abstract. This is the way of writing. And then there are different publication stages. What different publishing stage means? Pre-writing, writing, and post-writing. What is the pre-writing? The pre-writing means the first, as I mentioned, that you have to develop outline and then select target journal. Before start preparation or before start publication, you must have knowledge about the journal. So which journal you are going to publish? What is most important in your paper? So you have to identify that. That is very important. And then also you must read author's guidelines. That is very important. This is pre-writing. And writing, how you can write your manuscript effectively? which means that you can follow that first methodology, second you can write results, third you can write discussion, fourth write introduction, fifth abstract. Then you should write, you can should have like graphical abstract, very important. Graphical abstract, which is indicator for whole information about your manuscript by graphical representation with image representation. That is called as graphical abstract. And research highlight, you have to give 4 bulletins. Each bulletin for 1 bulletin. You have to give your importance of your research in the research and title. Before that, you can give proofreading, because when you prepare your manuscript, find your mistake. Because when you read, when you write, and when you do for your work, you cannot find your error. So you can give to others. Others they find. Go for internal review. What is the meaning of internal review? That means you can check with whether you written for very high standard. That is internal review. And after you completed this thing, you can post writing, you lecture. This is yes, effective. Check lectures, they can understand findings. Okay, and the potential reviewer very important. Most people the selection of reviewers. They select reviewers from one country. Editor can the for example, Professor Luman with me. Next year, he nominated me as a reviewer. Means the editor will find check my edition. If they find any papers with him, means they reject my. So, so you have to identify. How will you identify the reviewer? Yeah, literature review. You can see lot of papers, right, related to your paper, right? You nominated them as a reviewer of your paper. That is very simple. You can see the paper from Taiwan. You can see the paper from Japan. You can see the paper from Korea. So you can nominate that author as a reviewer. That is very important. They look for these things. If you nominated authors from the same, they will give. Can you tell me? How fast you want to make it for? This one is very important. It's very important. This is good opportunity to attract the readers, editors. Okay, so you have to give more information typing. And also in the title page, you can give the title, and also you can give the corresponding author address. Who communicating your paper? Mostly would be supervisor. So you can give the address, supervisor address, telephone number, email ID, fax number. That is very important, mandatory in the first page, the title page. And then address, like two address you may give. Permanent address and present address. That is very important. Present address means like working university address. And then this is very important for research paper. What I mentioned that 3 to 5 highlights, the each highlight for 85 characters, the highlights should describe about your research finding. What methodology, what material, what application with 85 characters. And also you have to mention for novelty of your research in the highlights. This is the graphical abstract. You can provide your research findings or research outcome. In the research outcome in the terms of graphical way representation. That means you more understand, more clear when you look at the abstract what you are research, what you done to your research. That is very important. Okay. Before start, what is the common writing manuscript practice? The paper writing, you start from method because you start do your experiment, right? That is a method. And then you can go for after method, you can go for analysis. Analysis is get the research. For example, you get FPIR, XRD, Raman. So this is research. You can write first. After you get the result, XRD result means why this thing is appeared. What we think appeared, what is the reason? That means the discussion. Why this thing appeared? Why did we shifted in XRD? Why these are functions being present in FPIR? That is what is the discussion. What you observe, that means if you write, that means that is the result. What you observe. This picture appear, that means result. Why it is appear in the discussion? So you have to write more effectively. You connect it with literature review. What about the other paper, the similar material? What happened? You can connect it with this more discussion. After you can write introduction. Why you can write introduction after the result of discussion part? You know why? Based on your result, you can write introduction. Without doing result and without writing discussion part, if you start with introduction, you cannot write introduction. For example, your result is very good for title degradation. You may like write more about title degradation, the important. How this can be useful for this your material. So the introduction after result, you can write it well. It's very good. You can emphasize about your material or methodology or using your research. Based on your research, you can write it very clear way in the introduction. So that you can write after research and discussion. Because introduction was very important. You cannot write it for 3, 4 pages. You can write only one or two pages. It's good. After that, you can write abstract. Abstract, what should you write in the abstract? Abstract is very, very important. Because the reviewer and editor, first editor look on the title, abstract, conclusion. They will decide whether your paper will be considered for further peer review process or not. Otherwise, they will reject the initial stage. So they read very clear about your title of the paper and abstract. So abstract, you cannot give more information. You can give very limited because each journal has the abstract is the word count. Word count with 200 or 250 words only you can use your abstract. So during the 200 to 250 words, how will you write it? More effective abstract. Then I can give you the tips. How to write the abstract, how to write the introduction, how to write the experimental methodology, how to write the result, and how to write the discussion. And finally, we can go for research height and practical application and title of the paper. So this is very important. Okay. You can see that usually I practice. I used to tell the student to follow this way. Once you done the experiment, you start to write methodology. Once you go for characterization, when you get any cell, first you have to create a ministerial template. You can create a ministerial template, you can put title, abstract, and then introduction, material methodology, result and discussion, conclusion, references. You can create a template. One section, if you get extra thing, you can draw the extra and you can write. So like this, okay. So first you have to create a template. And then you can follow this one. If the title is very, very important. If you give more, like 3 to 4 lines, the title is not attractive. The editor don't like for this type, such kind of title. The title should be 2 lines and also more informative. The title should be reflected in the whole content of the paper. That is very important. So how to prepare, how to propose for effective title, that is very important. So you can look at here, there are 2 titles I mentioned here. Preliminary observation of the effect of zinc element on anti-corrosion of zinc plating layer. It is original title. This is more effective or this one is more effective? The effect on zinc on anti-corrosion of zinc plating layer. Which one is very effective? Original title or revised title? Revised title. You can see that this is little bit confusion, right? What is the preliminary? What is the observation? What is the effect of zinc? Right? But you can write like this. So you can revise your title is very important. To more effective. And also you can see the second title, the fabrication of carbon or titanium sulfide coaxial nanofiber display the optical and electrical properties via electrochemical carbon. We cannot write showing displaying like this word. And also we cannot use any kind of abbreviation. Abbreviation means AFC. While you understanding, you provide abbreviation, but you cannot use the title. The title should be explained form. You got it or not? Okay, but you can see that electrospinning of carbon or cadmium sulfide coaxial nanofiber with optical and electrical properties is the reverse. So this is the way you cannot use for any kind of non-scientific norm. That is very important. You should follow the scientific norm. Nowadays, most of the students we use AI code. AI code cannot give that scientific information. Try to understand, guys. This is big challenge for nowadays for professors. If you ask anybody to prepare the report or manuscript, you can follow the ChatGPT or AI code. When you can submit to the professor, is not checking, he or she not check properly that go for publication in future it will be trouble. Because the ChatGPT cannot give for more scientific information. It is given only for general information. Scientific information there, but not like cited properly. The citation is very important. You have to write it in your own way. Okay, and then this is also the keyword. What is the importance of keyword? After abstract, after title, abstract and keywords. Keywords are very important. What is the meaning of keywords? If you look at the keywords, what research topic you are doing, right? That means material. And what methodology, what property, and what application. You may highlight in single work. For example, you prefer for nanocomposite or carbon chemical or any material that you can mention as a keyword. And if you for example, you prepare your sample by hydrothermal process or solid thermal process or chemical precipitation or any methodology that you can coating process, you can mention other things. If you identify any properties, electrical properties or optical properties or surface morphology properties, then you can highlight it as a keyword. And then application is very important. What application? Energy, environmental, light integration, wastewater treatment, CO2 filtration. That is application. So when you look at the keywords, I can completely understand about your research. The first keyword indicated your material. Second keyword indicated what? Process. Third keyword indicated the properties. And fourth keyword indicated the application. So like this, you have to prepare what? The keywords also very important. Okay. Abstract. What should be there in abstract? What should be there in abstract? First, problem and objective. Please write, don't start directly about your research finding. You can start to 2 lines. What is the objective? Why you have to study your research? So you can write 2 lines about your objective. Then you start your research. Then you understand or not? Then you understand or not? Okay. So second is methodology. So what methodology you follow or you use to prepare your sample that you have to write. And third, findings and conclusion. What is the research finding and what conclusion? And finally, what is the impact of your research? So this information you should follow on your paper. Each line should be like 10 rule. I follow the 10 rule. 1 to 2 sentence per gain, 2 to 3 sentence per material method, 2 to 3 sentence per result, 2 sentence per discussion and conclusion. This is for abstract. Tell them what you did in the impact of finding. The abstract should be short and very informative. And also, the abstract should not contain details of expert procedure. Please don't write that. What parameter, what methodology. You can give what method you used in your research. That's enough. So, to contain significant result, this is about 150 to 200 words should be sufficient. You should practice a little bit. This is a technique. You prepare for abstract. You have any doubt about an title, keywords, and abstract? You have any doubt about title, keywords, and abstract? More clear, right? When you prepare your manuscript, you should remember that. Okay, so first 2 lines objective. You don't start it directly. Thinking research or doing this study. Okay, you can like why you are doing research on this topic. You have to justify, then you can start your research. Okay, this is very important. And also that introduction. Introduction, what should be present? Introduction. The first one, problem to be addressed. And background and the literature review, that is very important. When you take any kind of research aspect, like for example, you are doing research on energy, what is the energy needed? What is the importance of energy? If you do your research on related to environmental, so what is the like what the topic? Energy, environmental, biomedical, and whatever is the composite is a broad topic. You can do specific topic, right? So why you need to do that? That you can collect the background literature review. That is very important. What other people are done, the same material, same methodology, what the same they observe the properties. Like for example, you are doing for some composite material, you can see the mechanical behavior, what we perform, the behavior, that is the background, right? And also the research purpose and method. Why you need to follow this method? Because many methods are available. Among these many methods, you can select only specific method. What is the reason? You have to give the justification, right? You have to give the advantage, disadvantage among these other methods. And also describe your approach. So then finally you can mention for what the position is that you can see that this is for important things for the introduction section to define a brief statement of need for investigation, review up to date literature and specific objectives. Guys, one thing very important. When you prepare for introduction, you should follow that recent literature, updated literature. Recent literature means you should follow when you prepare the manuscript in the year of 2025. That means you should have the paper from 24, 23, 22 to data. You can follow the 80, 90, or 60. Your references, your citation, very old, which means your data is outdated. You cannot publish anywhere else. So most important thing is the citation and references. Editor look for the citations also, whether you cited for recent references or old references. When you see that you see the references, you have all the references old, which means that 5 years. That means your paper is outdated. You cannot go for any publication. That is very important. Why, like many people teach master in 23 or 24, 22. Sometimes they went for job, 2 years, they work, they back to academic for PhD. They want to publish a paper, master paper, in the journal. When they can convert as a manuscript, but they don't update it for references. They can follow the same version for journal communication. They cannot publish a paper because all the references are very old. This is very important. Whenever you do publications, you should follow that references very important. Under these sections should reflect that originality. How to find originality and uniqueness? If you go any presentation, The people will ask the most, most of the question, what about the knowledge of the research? What about uniqueness of your research? Guys, how to make uniqueness and knowledge of your research? How to make uniqueness and knowledge of the research? Do you know? We cannot make part new material, right? New element can you make? But we can make new compounds. When we mix together different composition, right? Nowadays, many people done a lot of research. Now we can do replicate research, right? What is the meaning of replicate? What is the meaning for replicate? Replicate means what? No? We can follow for existing research. That means replicate. We cannot change any modification. It's a replicator. Replica. You understand, right? What we are doing, if you see that silver, gold, metal oxide, or composite, or carbon-based material, polymer composite, so many things are there, right? Different composition. But the people have published lot of papers in the same material. Same material, you can see lot of papers. Do you know what is the age of zinc? What is the age of zinc? 100 years. Still, zinc oxide, the people are working on the publishing paper. That means we can do modifications. What kind of modifications compared to existing? We can change the experimental parameter. What experimental parameters? We can play with ratio. We can play with pH. We can play with temperature. We can play with precursor. We can play with methodology. So the 5 parameters are there. You can change any parameter to find the novelty. Nobody's can, because all the papers don't follow that 5 process, right? They can follow different process. They use the pH is 9. You make high for pH is 11 or 6, low pH. You get this composite for low pH means you make right there. These are new method or new research, like originality or novelty. And pH and temperature also. Most of the paper, they follow the temperature for 180 degrees Celsius. But when you prepare the composite 160 degrees Celsius, compared to the literature, that means is the novelty. Nobody's done. Nobody's prepared this temperature. You want to prepare for the composite this temperature, which means that is the novelty. That is the originality. So the different way you can represent your originality and novelty, because when you do research, application also, everyone cannot perform for all the applications. Material is same, methodology is same, but application must be different. For example, dye degradation. Many composite material, they use the methylene blue, methylene orange, rhodamine blue, right? But nobody is reported CB or crystal violet, other than methylene orange. So you might try for different types. You can claim that this type nobody is reported. So like this, you have to find that your research novelty and originality of your research. That is very important. And then this section should be normally 3 or 4 types of people. You can see that how you can write that. For example, first you have to write that objective, and then background information. After that, you can write about your what is existing the information, methodology, and property and process. Then you can start to write your objective. So you can see that usually you can smart objective. What is the meaning of smart objective? You know smart objectives. What is a smart objective? Yes stand for yes means what is that? Specific. Yes. And the M stand for measurable. A achievable. R result oriented. C D is a time view. So this is a smart objective. So your objective should be specific. And also your objective must measurable. Not measurable means this is not your objective. And also your objective should be performed. Like result oriented. And finally, time bound, timeline. If you have objective, you can complete your objective by 3 years, 5 years. Is it okay? You're not right. You can complete time bound, right? Time limit. So 6 months, 3 months, you have to complete your objective. So this is the process to follow them. And then what is very important, originality can be like very important, and read literature from the database, and then scrutinize for more relevant paper, and read introduction for where and how research can be identified and highlighted, and read recommendation of future direction of the officer. Then you can make the table. I used to tell my students, they follow this way. Once they collect the paper, they make that table. If you collect 100 papers, I can give that like different folders. The first folder, year of 2025. Second folder, 2024, 23, 22. Each year, you can collect it 30 paper. You can collect it 100 papers. And you can, like separate it based on the application, based on your title, and based on your one highlighted for like this. Then you can collect that. If you start to write introduction, you can follow that page from the table. You can easily take it. This is very important. Like mostly the critical issues in the review of references, new, different, and authorizations lacking, and then also inconclusive or true nature. And these are you have to follow that and to overcome this issue. This is the objective one and objective two. You can organize yourself how you can arrange for material base, and then methodology, result of discussion, conclusion. You can write it very quickly. First objective, second objective, the same thing. And then this one is the result. How the problem was studied, input the detailed information to allow the repetition. That is very important. Methodology. You can see that the methodology very important. You can give very true information. That means other people follow your research. That is very important. You can look at your how the problem was studied. And also include the detailed information to follow the implications. Do not describe previously published procedures. It's the replicated. So what you can do, you can simply provide a citation. That is very important. And also use proper notation, including the chemical formula and symbol. And also don't forget to present this control view. And that's one important thing. When you look at that any paper, the materials method, the section, they can give characterization technique or instrument technique. Why we are using instrument techniques for all publications? You know what is the reason? Why we need to provide for instrument analysis, instrument techniques, information? You know why? Many paper exactly what instrument, SCM what instrument, 10 what instrument, and then application what reactor we use. We provide it, right? All the papers they provide it. Why? What they to validate the result. Okay. Okay. To validate the result, by which ones are by author. Okay. Okay. What is in fact? It's correct. Validate the result. Why we provide this information? Yeah, and it's one was all the very good, very good. You can exactly answer. Because every institution has a different kind of instrument. Like company, the instrument is not same. You got good research. I follow the same code. I have the same material, same methodology, but I don't get same research. Why? My instrument is not related to the same instrument. So when you see the instrument, what I invest, what is the company, so when you look at the characters in instrument for, they mention very clear about the instrument name and country and manufacture date also. That is very important to validate your results. Because you don't get very good surface morphology, you don't get very good peak in exactly why it was happened. You need to check it. Maybe the instrument problem or your material problem. So how to validate by instrument information? We can check with all the papers, they use the same instrument, how the result. Can you understand, right? That is very important. So that we can follow that. If you have even to work on simulation, because most of the people they follow experimental simulations. So you can give the simulation information. What is the software? What is the software is free software or purchase software? You can give the information. The number 4, you can give very clear the way. That is very important. And however, only the most important any equation or feature should be present. That is very important. And also, if you goes, if you control that, very important, the chemical, where you are brought the chemical, what is the purity, that is very important. You have to define the materials. When you do research on materials aspect, you must mention that the purity of the chemical and the where you brought it, the company made. So this is very important chemical formula. Sometimes when you do the research, what about the ratio? The precursor ratio, what temperature you use, and what about the frequency if you are using any frequency, or wash the sample, how many times you will wash the sample. You must give this information very clear in the experimental part. Because the many people replicated your research, that you can clearly understand. And you can see that, follow that. This is you can give that, like this, what gram, what charge, this is very important when you prepare for this materials. And for example, the same you already published a paper, the same procedure, but material is different for another paper. Do not repeat the same. So what you can do, you can simply provide it according to the previous report. That means it's understood. Anybody they want to know about your materials, your experimental parameters, they can see the paper, they will do it. So do not repeat the same information for all publications. Okay. This is the result and discussion. Now coming to the result and discussion. This section is very important. When you write the result part, you can if you perform the any kind of analysis. For example, XR analysis, you can see that lot of things you observe, right? The peaks indicated whether the material have a crystallity or amount of energy. Okay, the peaks you observe. The peaks indicated what type of crystal. Okay, then if you can see that any peaks are shifted, why is it shifted? So you can give the more elaborate information with literature. That is very important for research discussion. We may call it as interpretation. The scientific interpretation is very, very important. Why it is shifted? Why it is increased? Why it is increased? So you can give more scientific way. What is the compensation? Why it is happening there? Due to that, what is the reason? What's the cause? So you can give more elaborate information for this section. And you can see that like include the data and also very primary importance. For example, if you are writing for FTR analysis, you can write first what are the contributions appeared in that your material. Then you can explain each function group how it can be connected with literature. YH is already existing, any material, the way present or not. What is the wave number? So you can check and you can give very, more clear way. You can connect it with existing literature. This is the discussion part, and this will be, most important part of the research. Because once the reader, they can understand about your research, how to interpret your research, then they can follow your research and discussion part. So if you write more clear way, and use the figures and tables for the efficiency. You can see that sometimes you got a lot of figures. For example, when I was the reviewer, I got a lot of papers, right? But when I look at that, the paper contains 20 figures, 20 tables. The editor don't like such kind of papers. So immediately they reject. So how many papers, how many figures they allow? Normally, very good high impact journal, they allow maximum the figure is 8 to 9. For original 8 is 9 is okay. And table 1 or 2 is okay. So what you can do, if you have to, you have 20 figures and 20 tables, the remaining figures and remaining tables you may prepare as a supplementary information. You can provide only for main figures, important figures in the main text. The remaining figures and table move to supplementary. Nobody provided all the tables and all information.
That's you say
Is more efficacy. Paper content for huge number of figures and huge number of tables. So you must give very important figures and the table. The figures and tables are so limited. You can look at the journal of guidelines, they clearly mention that. If, for example, journal of household, the journal of household limited only 8 figures, including tables. More than that, they cannot allow. So you can prefer according to it. If you have both on the table, because of table, what you will do, you can move to supplementary. The supplementary is a addition. You can view. If you want to see, you can pick the people number just to free. But it will not appear in the main text, but it will appear in the other, like other file. They will click, they can see that. So you can then also very important is the figure quality. This is very, very important. Why the China published more number of people with high impact of journal? What is the reason? The China only published, China, UK, US, they published high impact factor, right? The Asian country, we cannot publish for high impact factor. High impact factor means more than 10 or 15 impact factor. We cannot publish it, right? Why? You know reason? Like the facilities and the instrument, and then we can say whatever, right? But very important is the figure quality. The quality of figure. You don't believe, you can check that any paper, you can see the ACS, the figure is the same image. Now what we taken the same image of the zinc oxide, the alien oxide, that image qualities on China and UK, US, you can see the image quality is completely different. Am I right or wrong? So we can go for high clarity. The resolution, very high resolution images, because they use high standard and also they use a lot of software tools to modify, to magnify, to that high resolution of image. There are a lot of things are there. You can see, when you see the schematic diagram, they can create a vision how the atoms are translated to that layer, right? Then they can give more visualized image, but we cannot make, right? So these are a lot of tools are there. When you plot a graph by Excel, the quality is very, very poor. Origin, sigma plot, give more, the better, right? If you play with the origin software, you can make it more effective way. That's why you need to do what by using for something of origin. And also you can look at this kind of image. If you provide this kind of graph very clear, then you can try to publish it. Not clear for scale, not clear for image, not clear for more high resolution. We cannot go for even then. Cannot publish it for high resolution. So high resolution is good for only high clarity of images. High resolution of images. Because the figures quality is very important. When you look at the figures, you need to understand them. So this is very important for research. And then discussion you can come to research. Why you work with why it increases, why it happens there, that we can explain more, right? What effectively. And also avoid that some kind of statement to go against what the research can support, non-specific expression, you can keep it avoided. And also you must have compared your published research. Guys, very important thing in the writing of research and discussion part. I observed that most of the papers they do not compare with the existing one. What they did, the people, what they observed, they written in the papers, not compared with the existing one. And how can you see that whether the result is superior or inferior? How will you know that? So you must compare with that to the result. For example, you can get for whatever you get the result, you must compare with that to your existing. Then you can write it whether the result is superior or inferior with existing one. That is very important. And finally, you make the comparison table for different parameters. This is very important. Without comparison, you cannot go for high percentage channel. So most of the students, most of the people, they do not follow that comparison. They want to follow, they want they did, they simply because they mentioned in the book. Then even if it's coming to each other, they simply reject. What they given the rejection, the reason for this paper is not focused in our journal. English is not standard. This paper contains a lot of mistakes. I can show you how to clear the process. Okay? And also this is the conclusion. Conclusion, usually what we take, right, guys, you are very familiar with writing it. The Asian people, what we are doing, many of the students, they repeat it for just rewrite for the abstract and conclusion the same way, right? But the abstract is given the present string, and then conclusion is given past tense. Okay, past tense is already done, right? The same thing you follow them. But a conclusion, you cannot repeat the same for abstract. You can view only important research finding and methodology and future work. That means only you should give that conclusion. You should follow that. Do not repeat that abstract the same.
what material, what methodology, what findings, do not repeat. Okay, most important findings and future work, but enough of them. Why it is you apply them? If you have a reason, you can mention it. So this is the result. And if you have any acknowledgement, that is very important. Otherwise, it will be conflict of interest. If you got any company from your industry or the university or anything, you must mention the acknowledgement. That is very important. And then also references. References is very big challenge for publication because each journal have different formats, not the same format, right? Each journal have their own format. So how to prepare your references more effectively? That is, more questionable, right? So, for example, if you provide an original paper under references, which means what is the significance? If you provide references more in original paper, that means what? Your contribution is very less. Because you can quote compare with everything from the literature, right? So you should follow that the references. You do not, like provide for research paper, maximum 50, 60 enough. Review paper more than 100, 150 enough. Original paper you cannot give 150 or 200 references. So many references you cannot give, right? So depends on the letter, you can give only 20 references. Short communication, you can give 50 references. You can go material letters, they mentioned that 2,500 words, only 10 references. Only 2 figures in the letter. So each format has a different reference state. So such references you can see that sometimes you can follow numbers, first bracket numbers. Some journals they follow that author's name, Pita. You know the meaning of Pita? Pita. What's the meaning? Suresh Pita. Pita. Asa Pita. What's the meaning of Pita? More than one author. More than one author, they provided Pita. If you want to cite for Pita, if you repeat the publication, more than 2 authors, then you can put Suresh Pita 2024. This citation. If 2 authors meet, you cannot use Pita. Suresh and Priya Society. And year. So you can follow with the gradient. You should not follow and you make one reference to the number, another reference to the author name, and another reference to completely, bad arrangement, bad presentation. So your paper rejected. You should follow uniform. Numbers, you should follow the numbers. You should follow author name, you should follow the author name. So this is very important. And also they have very easy to arrange for references. There are 2 tools. What kind of 2 tools? Manually and Node. Now we have 2 software. You can use this tool automatically arrange. This 2 tool, you can give the journal name. This reference arrange according to the journal state. That is very easy to time consume. If you arrange manually, it will take more time. But you can use for manually or EndNote, very easy to arrange the references. Okay. So this first part, how to write that paper. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? The first part. Now I will start peer review process. Right, I'm asking you if you have any questions. The first topic. Okay.
References that is why you figure references the more figures it can explain
Actually, this right question is why we restricted of images. Why we provided only for 9. Usually, if you give more number of pictures, you cannot understand. We can provide more number of pictures in terms of supplementary. The remaining pictures you can give for supplementary. Only main pictures you can provide it in the main text. I'm not saying that you cannot give for more number of pictures. If some journal they restricted for number of pictures, means the remaining pictures you can provide it supplementary. Supplementary is the same publication, but different file. If you extra figure, you can give the supplementary. If you want to know that what the figure is, I can see that this figure from family. You can provide it. But if you give more, what the figure says, how it looks like this? Very messy, right? If you have more tables about the figures and the figures, it looks like pieces. Okay, so in paper it's very limited, right? Finally, figure is clearly printed, right? What you done and what you understand the concept, right? So the remaining figures we move to that supplementary. Okay. So this is very important. Okay. So next is peer review process and the publication ethics. So two topics. Okay. If you go for peer review process, very important thing you are like what you done that is very interesting and very knowledgeable and also new data, then you can go for publication. Okay. Otherwise, you don't get. Okay. If you do data and then already is existing research, this information already published, you do not follow the same, right? For the existing one. You need to give some kind of new information in your paper. That is very important. Okay. So what the peer review process, then if you know that everything, you can go for submission. Once we can journal submitted, you can see that many journals, many people are nowadays make youngsters more confusing. Where where they have to publish paper, where to publish paper. Means the question, right? How to solve this problem? Where to publish a paper means many journals, many publishers, they have finders, journal finders. So you can provide your abstract in the journal finder, you will get suitable journal related to your research paper. And also you can see the literature review references where they publish, you can follow them. This is the way how to identify for your suitable journal. Okay, for your submission. There are two ways. One is you can follow that publisher finders, journal finders, or you can follow that literature review. Literature review means reference paper. Reference paper where they publish. If you are what is super paper said, what the journal super paper said, journal of energy story, journal of our story. Again, you can see that most of the papers they publish in journal of energy. And they are releases, like telecom interfaces. So this journal is available. Journal of energy. You can go for energy related review. So there are two ways, two options are given. One is option is you can follow that journal finding to get right journal. You can look at here speaking HCO. They have journal finding. You can click when you get from the journal. What kind of journal you get. Once you get the journal, you can go for the paper submission. Because it's very mostly most of these young people, students and young faculties very like challenging for selecting the journal because many journals are available. And also, as I mentioned before, there are two types of indexing journals. What two types of indexing journals? Scopus and reversal. Sometimes some journals are like Praxi, cloning journal. You know the Praxi and cloning? What is a Praxi and cloning? Cloning journal means what? Clone. Clone means what? Clone means what? Same thing. These are Praxi means these are duplicate. Now, many publishers, many companies, the scammer, they started a lot of Scopus journal. The same. And actually, original Scopus, the scammer started a similar Scopus journal. Because some of the university still, especially Thailand, they follow that the publication from Scopus for graduation, master student and PhD. So they can follow for Scopus publication if you any scam journal, like they follow the cloning, like same IAS number, same journal, same website. Once you pay the publication fee, after publishing the paper, you can check in the Scopus index that journal is defined. It's a cloning. Nowadays, this scam is more and more because there are more PhD students. Like Bengali, both master and PhD students, everyone look for publication. So they started this one, right? So very be careful. When you select the journal, when you go for publication, that is very important. Okay, so that we can go for this one. Google Scholar and Scopus and the person. This is the coverage. Usually the person is very top. And then Google Scholar and Google directly open up the journal in Elsevier research papers. You can see that every journal they have a website. You can check before submitting a paper. And in scopus, you can look at here, this is how many journals are there, the journals are there. You can see the scopus, how many publisher, receiver, stranger, widely, tailor responses, sage, and then ACS and other publishers. Almost for the publication, 60% of others, the remaining of this is repeated publishing. You can see the scopus also the subject cover area. How much of subject is covered? The 50% of life sciences and 23% of social science and physical science 30% and health science 32%. If you go for very hard to publish paper in computer science and mathematics, because there is no, how they create for innovative ideas. That's why they can collaborate with many bioinformatics like the code system. Okay, so this is very important. And also you can see that this is the citation report. When you need to check whether you publish the journal, so the represent or not, you can go to this website. You can type your journal here, and you can search and you get the information. This journal is like technical reviews, this is science score, and this one. This guide, you can look at here, when you check the scopus in there, they start from 1994 to present. That means still it's continuing. Still it's continuing. Some journal indexes by 4 years. After that, they don't renewal. That is the reason the scopus they mentioned that 924 to discontinue. That means you cannot go for that journal. Please you be very be careful because most of the journals they can give only 4 years validity. After the publisher do not renewal, which means it is discontinued. So you cannot you can check first and then you can follow that. Otherwise you cannot go. And then very important action index. What is the meaning of action index? Index. What is the meaning of action index? It's very important for students. Students is not much important, but when you go for a postdoc or when you go for a fellowship or scholarship for like other country, they should look on that action index. What's the meaning for action index? Yeah, you can see that they follow the action. How they keep the professorship, associate professor, and lecturer. How they differentiate by action index. You can look at here, if I action index is 10 to 12, what is your destination? Associate professor. Your action index is 18, professor. 12, 20, fellow. And 45, you are number. So how we can calculate such kind of action index? A very simple calculation, guys. You can look at here. For example, this is A guy, this is B guy, this is E guy. A guy published how many papers? 10 papers he published. First paper is citation 101. Second paper 86. Third paper 77. 56, 16, 12, 8. Action index means how many papers have more than 5 citations? How many papers have more than 5 citations? You can look at here how many papers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is action. If action is more and more, your result is very high. You can see B guy, how many papers? 11 papers. What about action index? What is action index? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why 4? Above 5, you don't consider, right? You can look at here, this is 7. 8 paper, but above 5, right? This is the calculation. Okay, this is simple. We publish 20 papers, 50 papers, you can easily calculate. If you publish n number of papers, 100 or 200 or 300, how to calculate for action index by using that software? They can easily identify your achievements. 51. How many references, how many citations, how many documents? 365. If you paper very less, citation is more. Action index, what about that? Citation and publication. Directly proportional to action index. Right? If the citations very high, publication very less, action index is high or low? Number of paper and number of citations in like directly proportional, right? More number of papers, more number of citations. Right? The action index is very low. This guy The 160 paper, the citation means attendance 90 or 100. So less number of paper and more citation, that means attendance is very high. It's very important. So like this, they calculate 105. You can see that the document 1,140 publication, the citation is how much? The HM is 105. Same thing you can look at here. These are examples. Okay. Now coming to the peer review process. There are two types of peer review process. What two types of peer review process means? Single line peer review, double line peer review. What is a single line peer review and double line peer review? What is the meaning of single line peer review? That means reviewers knows the author. Authors don't know reviewers. That means what? Reviewers know the identified author, but authors don't know the identified reviewers. What is called? Single line. So now we can submit in the paper. The author, a reviewer see your name, right? Most of the journal follow that single line. Can you understand or not? Now, if you submit any journal, some journal only remove the author's name. But most of the journal, they can go for review with author's name. That means what the single line. Because reviewers know who is the author of this paper. Okay. And what is a double line? Articles he identified both authors and the reviewers unknown with each other. That means they remove that author detail. They do not give any information about the reviewer. That is called as double line. Open means in control proceeding. We can submit that reviewer part, known people. Authors known to the reviewer, the reviewers known to the author. Reviewers and authors known to each other. That is called as open peer review. I hope you got it right. What is that open line? Single line, double line, and open. And this is what the editors want from the paper. Now, usually, why they reject the papers? Mostly, we can say that, right? When they submit the paper is rejected. Why? That reason is important. Functionality, relevant to reader, usefulness of reader, good. Your data is not good. The information is not good. And then excitement and clear writing. Excitement work at the mean, like what? That is innovative, new idea, new methodology, a new applications, a new material. And then this is the common reason. Whenever you can submit to a journal, you can get immediate response from the editor. If it's incorrect journal, it means out of the scope. Even you can submit to that right journal, your material and the energy, solar cell application. You can submit to this journal of energy, solar energy. They can give the same information because your paper is incorrect type of allocation. Like you cannot select right format, like the right type of paper. Like if you give a letter, but you can select the research document with the incorrect format. Or you can prepare for the letter, you can select the research paper, but also incorrect. And incorrect format, bad language, that means poor English, and plagiarism. You copy more content, an unsound word, an unoriginal word, any previous rejection, bad response to reviewer comment. You cannot write politely, you cannot respond to the reviewer comment. It's a bad response to reviewer comment. Your paper is the common reason for rejection. So whatever you can read after the rejection, paper you can bring something to the journal, make the changes, and submit to the different journal. Sometimes they rejected your journal, guys, very important thing. Journals are all journals synchronized by one software. So you cannot submit your paper at a time to 2 or 3 journals. They can easily identify. Sometimes they cannot find it. You can publish 2 publications. You can publish one paper in 2 journals. That means dual publication, completely unethical, plagiarism. Okay, so that you can follow that. Make more changes and submit to another thing. Sometimes if you reject your paper, you should change your title and you should take response for the reviewer command. You address the reviewer command, you can modify your manuscript, then you can go for another thing. And this is poorly organized, badly written, careless error, variable tables, like 20 tables or 15 tables or 10 tables. 1 or 2, 3 is okay. And also needless figures. Sometimes we can give all the figures right. We cannot give. In the needless figures, we must go to supplementary and then outdated or like cited references. Outdated means 5 years back references. This is when you start to write your paper, you might write that cover letter. It's very important to the cover letter. How you can write your methodology, mechanism, and future challenges, and what the collaborators, like this information, and what is the potential everyone. You can mention in that your cover letter very clearly. That means the reader they can easily understand that. The editor, oh, okay, these are contributors, these are the review paper, discuss for this following information, and then they can go for. And then you can suggest a reviewer is very important. Suggest a reviewer means what they will do. They can follow that this one. Like editor, last time I mentioned that, right? Suggestion is very important. You cannot give for the same country professor's name for your paper. Like if you for submitting paper from ITS, they cannot give reviewer from that other major university, University or Technology University or University of Indonesia. They cannot give. They can give for other countries. So they have to suggest for 5 years from other people. That is very important. And also many journals they are used to for this editor and review process. You can follow the checklist, the format, and then content and guidelines. If you correct all the things, then you can go for the journal submission. And then also the reader yearly rejection because of sometimes you cannot change your title or you cannot follow the author guidelines. Like you cannot format your paper because sometimes like the title some font and the different font size for the title, border, the content, and the subheading. If you like this, different font size, different font, that means the like poorly the format right. Like subtract the double spacing and then introduction to the line and then other things 1.5. This kind of relate your format. It completely different. And it's a language. So you can follow the this one. Very, very important. Carefully study and come up with a freedom responsive. You can write the letters very important to the journal. Once you can answer that like this. If you prepare for any kind of command, you can provide it. You take the review of questions and you can take the action of questions. Like how you can answer for this or all the questions. That is very important. Response to the command. When you prepare for the commands, you can take that each command, you can explain it, you can address them. Then you can write it great and paper. And also you can follow the cover letter like this. When somebody these are very important because how you can affect and how you can explain about your response to the editor that you can clearly maintain. Next topic is a publication matrix. This clearly is okay, clear? Clear? Okay, thank you. So publication matrix, I think we follow that. What we can do the publication matrix is quite interesting because most of the people can. If you want to publish work on the paper, what they can do, they can follow the verification of image, falsification of data, fabrication of data, and plagiarism. These are many issues. It creates the many issues for this, people. How you can follow that is very important. This is very important. Fabrication of data, that means creating the fake data, data falsification, manipulating of data, plagiarism, that means copy from other publications. And also the dual publication, and gift authorship, and citation of manipulation. Citation manipulation means what? You want to increase your own citation, then you can add it your own publication, self-citation. And what is the meaning of gift authorship? Without authorship, you can give authorship. And also inappropriate authorship. For example, you are from material science background, right? You cannot give authorship for mathematical people. That means inappropriate authorship. That's also rejected. Because how the mathematician connected with your research? Can you understand, right? So these are sometimes you should follow that. This is for publishing ethics. Nowadays they look for very clearly look for authorship. Authorship means they should follow that relevant author subject, like okay, how they contribute them. And also the fabrication and falsification data. That is nowadays so many people what they did. They want to make for more number of papers. They did lot of data. You can see that this guy did for regulation to be cut. And also the same thing, the same iron oxide. You can see the only change in the color. Only changing the color. The journal now easily identified. The exact color now iron oxide, sleep oxide, and magnesium sleep oxide. There is no changes. They all are in each other. That means use data. And also in paper, you can see that cumulative releases this image and this image. Both are same or different. Only changing the pH value. You can see that the curve is same. These are the same, but it's only changing the pH and this here temperature. You got it or not? Can you understand or not? You look at this image A and B. Only changing pH here, but you can change concentration here. But the graph is same. identical, right? This is analytical refractor. If you go like this, the paper is category, publisher and retractor. You remove from the publication, but you style your name. If you do like this, you will find your career. You cannot go from within, like two institutions. Once you are paper catch by action, because you will be the classification or data application. That is very important, right? And also refractor because some kind of this is they are using for image. This is a control image. You can see that this is they are using for compact image from changing one scale. You can understand this is control image. This is another image, but they changing the rotation. You got it or not? So they for only rotating 180 degrees, they use the other image in other places. And plagiarism means content. They can use for the other before permission to take for other content, other figures, other information, right? Before getting citation. That is called as plagiarism. So you can see that how much plagiarism, how much fake data, how much duplicate publication, and the error and mistake, authorship dispute, and fake review process, copyright issues, others unknown. You can only hear this data from 2021. A collector. You can look at that here. 125 plagiarism is average. These are the things are there. Be careful because you are thankful. You should be aware of this information. Why they are conducting such kind of workshop? Because you are not aware of such a thing. You want to get degree. You need to publish a paper. So you can do whatever. Take data falsification, whatever. Because you want to get degree, right? You don't follow the ethics. Right or wrong? No. But some students, they want to get degree, they want to go back, so they can do like this. They will be suffer later. Once they can write, journal. And then this also, reflection notice, because overlap it, you will be public paper. More content. Sometimes what will happen, what you think, your paper, you provided, you copy from your own paper, right? You have two papers, one paper you publish, another paper, you take some content from the public document. That's you should know one thing. Once you publish the paper, you are not owner of the paper. You are only author of the paper. The owner of the paper is the publisher. Because you sold the paper to publishing company. The publisher only have the rights. If you want to take any content, you should get permission, even if you are the first author. You cannot use before the permission because you are thinking, I am the author of the paper, so I can take whatever they need. No, cannot. So you should get permission. Once you publish the paper, the publisher only authenticated person. You sold the paper. For example, you can hold your things, data. If you want to reuse it, you should get permission. Because the knowledge you cannot do because you told it right. Same thing. So given that your own paper, you cannot use your content. Like this is a plagiarism. And also many people you will see integrity of data, no provided raw data, over copy with previously published paper by different authors. And like sometimes they are providing the fake ID. Email ID, that also is a publication. You can see that some of the things are there in chapter, this data are reported. Many things are there. And reproduction of data without appropriate consent and the committee citation. That means if you take any kind of image for review paper, if you review paper completely, you take the content from published article, so that you can take the content from any paper, you must give citation, content and figure. Without citation, you can use for this figure and content is a big problem. That's why you can see that here they use the same image without any citation. It will be reflected. The problem. You can see the same image. Given that the same author, or different author but different papers. Like this, many papers for like the context in image. These are the text and reflected. So many things are there. How we can get the permission? Every journal they have link. Very easy to get permission. Pictures and content. You can use this link by get rights and content. Then after this, you can click where I would like to make a book chapter, journal, or what kind of publication. Then you can click figures or text or table. Then you can write it here. And how many figures you can write number. And your format is printed and electronic. And then if you not know author of this article, no. If author of this article, you can give yes. You are not translating. You can give continue, then you get the continue again. And then you can give who is the other publisher. So where you are going to publish. The details, then you can give continue, and you can give the number, to get number 2 then you get the publication. Only 2 minutes job. Easily you get publishing. 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you get publishing from right away. You are not doing, you can go for before citation, it will be trouble with the ethics. And you will get, then you will get it for WhatsApp, and you will get. Okay. Okay. And also, we must. So, authorship issue, we can say very clearly what type of authorship and who is contributed, that is very important. And also, you can follow that acknowledgement funding and the other things is important. Okay, you know that this one, everyone will check, right? What is it? I have. But now you know many publisher case against this one. Why you know? Is ethics? Is ethics? Ethics or unethics? Ethics or unethics? Because all channels have one right. This earth is not connected, not getting money, right? Illegal, right? You can download all the paper. So many publishers fight case against this you will know that this are strictly from the teacher. You cannot use this one, right? And also when it is ethical and when it is become unethical, that means you can use that. Okay, I will ask some 3 questions for understanding. Then you can answer me. Then maybe okay, I'm happy. What do you understand for ethics? Okay, one of your friends helping you type medicine. Another friend of you in other institution has performance of some characterization for the sample. For example, pencil testing or some analysis. Will you include them as an author in your paper or not? Will you include them as an author in your paper? What is ethics? What is unethics? Ethics is a contribution and help. What is the meaning of help? What is the meaning of contribution? If I am here, I want to take this one. Somebody is giving me that is a help. Help is not contribution. Okay, if you do some lift the table, somebody is helping against the contributor. You can understand, right? Contribution and help, right? Same thing, one guy is helping for only typing. That is contribution or help? Help. Help is considered as an authorship. Co-authorship not considered. No, typing is cannot. It's not a scientific contribution. Just only for typing helping. But characterization, other friend is performing for characterization. It's considered the authorship. It's a contribution of your research. Can you understand or not? Because you don't identify which one is ethics, which one is unethics. If helping means you cannot do authorship. Someone will drop you in the other institution for your characterization. You can do authorship done. You can do authorship done. No, right? But who assisting? Who is contributing to your research? You can give authorship. Okay. Operating instrument, braking and accessories, petrol potential QVT, no one is around. Will you report in the supervisor? Or what will be the response of the supervisor? What should be the response of the supervisor? If you do an experiment, because I want to know that ethics, how the student behavior, the student ethics. If you do any experiment, there is nobody there around, right? If you broken any equipment, right? Did you report to the supervisor? No, that's very good. That is ethics. So what about the supervisor reaction? And then you can ask your like what is the reimbursement, right? Reimbursement or compensate money, right? You can buy the new one and you can follow it, right? This is ethics. If you are high, you cannot tell to your supervisor that is 100%. Okay, you have done the experiment only once. The reviewer is asking you how many times the experiment was performed and include the standard deviation. What will be your response? Maybe you can tell the truth. If you done 2 or 3 times, then you take the standard. You are not performing, you cannot simply mention for 3 times I did, 4 times I did, you cannot. You have same and tail image. You have already improved your laser publication. Can it be reused again? Can it be reused again? Yes.
Let's do this condition.
Yes, can. You should get permission. You should get permission. Do you have recommended use of any animal testing or human trial? What's your opinion? These are most of the issues coming from this analysis. Animal testing, because the value of the imaging, right? The imaging are duplicated, so many things. What is the suggestion? So you can do perform, right? Sorry. Yeah, based on the situation, then what?
And it's not harmful.
Yeah. So you can take it that teaching nutrition, you should get, like this kind of study very important for what is the committee approval. Animal testing and other testing, you should have advisory committee. Without committee, you cannot perform this analysis. You should have that without committee, especially for this kind of analysis. Animal testing, you should get approval from the committee. If you material, you do not need for any approval. But animal testing and human testing, you must have approval from research committee, ethics committee. That you should follow that. Otherwise, you cannot go. You cannot do as you wish. Because when you submit in paper, you want to submit that approval letter. The research committee letter for only for this analysis, not material analysis. Okay, let's wishing you all the best for your research career. Thank you. I hope you can do it. Have any question? Yeah.
Hey. Yes, would like to know about example of this time. They had when we went on the script, we have a list of and one is to have this list for iron impact. And we were one idea is to get the process. But where the study is to explore the field. It's very, very you don't have to access data, you don't have to engineers, and what your system, you have to characterize of this manuscript, but that until all characters.
Yeah, and I think we do the Asian problem because the Asian country we are have suffering from excuse. Most of the country they don't have excuse, right? If you have excuse, only very limited. Like one excuse, two excuse. Malaysia also have one excuse. It's very difficult to perform for excuse. Usually, when you go for early sector, they look for this more quantitative data, not more quantitative. They look for qualitative data. The quantitative data means the significant information, especially for the material nowadays. They look for not exactly. They don't believe on exactly. They believe on experience. For this elemental composition and how they can what are the elements of the thing. So you need to queue for if you go for a special queue on level, you must perform for experience. If you are not provider, the reviewer will ask the question. Anyway, you have to perform, reviewer will ask the question. This is one reason. Sometimes they look on that your data, you cannot provide it for any high standard characteristics, especially experience or HFL, they cannot go for any. You simply detect it. That also happens because for highly constructed, they look for this quantitative and qualitative information. And what application and what you require, that is deeper. For example, you can follow that or justification. Sometimes I complete for different. Sometimes they can say because I provided other information like DFT theory, density function theory. So I can include public experimental and verify next to the job. Then I can justify with the element of composition by any kind of analysis. They cannot do it for PDX and XRP. They only do it only from the scale. That is more challenging. If you go for the higher perspective. So these are issues. If you want to go for draft with high perspective, you can try. First, let's see that what is the command. Technical commands and legal command. Initially, the phone the minute you can do the feedback. Or if they reject it, you want to wait for the scale. Sometimes they consider the reviewer will do that actually. That time you can consider your express data in the good information. Usually the HQ take for 2 months or 3 months for performance analysis. So meanwhile you cannot go your manuscript. That's very important thing. If you prepare any manuscript, you can submit immediately. Otherwise, you take more and more day and time. Your data already most of the people publish similar kind of articles. So you cannot claim that in a novelty. If you have prepared for me, what Usman is mentioned there, I prepared for new material, but very good data, very good analysis, but I don't have the experience and the them. How can I go for publication? If you have very good information, you directly go for solution. Because if the whole thing is someone is published related to papers. That means your data is outdated. Is that like that's more information. So that whatever you can highlight your novelty in the abstract conclusion of introduction. That means in title object, they will consider. So we can explain. All the data, all the analysis, all the paper do not contain for XP, not necessarily with XP. If you have a new material or new method, you may go for this kind of application. Because you got it right. Excuse me, sir. I have a question. If I have done research that involves a simulation program or algorithm, is it better to put the link inside the article or only provided to other researchers who reach out later by stating so in the article? Yeah, this type of information algorithm maybe you can give for right because the journal have that option, and also you can give supplementary. Supplementary you can upload it for more kind of information in that website. Whatever you have that additional information, videos and other things, you can upload it in the supplementary. This one is very easy to understand for other researchers. They can easy to follow your research in supplementary. Excuse me, she got it, my answer. I think she is in online. If you understand, you can respond. You can provide it for many options there. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, very good question. This is most of the people what they have, like implicated for this, like publication. What they publish conference for physics, the same paper they can go for journal. But you should understand one thing. You should cite your conference publication. You cannot provide the same information to the research paper. Completely modified. But you can highlight this information only you publish in the conference publication. People are valid. If you want anything relevant, for example, XRP you already published, but other data you do not publish, you get permission and you can use for XRP. You should cite, yeah, in conference proceedings, you publish for these data, but in research paper, if you discover, so very high data, you can know data. That means if you use any other information from proceedings, you must get permission and provide a citation. For example, XRP. XRP is published, but in the second paper, the same paper expanded, you cannot use for XRP, no problem. But you want to show XRP means you get permission, you can use for XRP. And you provide the citation. Yeah, you have a question here.
I think that's very good for it's not, I'm sorry, it's what
no, find citation in that report, the expanded list. That is different because our journals are fine cited in that non expanded list. And both are under this focus category. Usually the C is okay. The C is the standard. Exponent in some journals is not missing into the C. You can provide that exponent. The of only provided that exponent. You can follow the C. The C is the time calculation. Any other question? All right. Any other question? Any other question? So many questions are.
There are something that we cannot it's the time of the compared to the they have many limited
Yeah.
and we for example
Additional studies.
series of experiments
Yeah, yeah, additional explanation.
then we have time and what should I put that in the
Yeah, yeah, very good, very good. Actually, there is options there. Extension. Renewal extension, you can do, you can apply. They will give only 2 weeks or 3 weeks. If you want more time, you can write email to them. They will extend it for 1 more 2 weeks and 2 more weeks. I got 3 extensions because my student took more time to perform it for the first 2 weeks. She cannot perform. She asked me, sir, I didn't perform. But I asked you, the editor, they extended the revision for half-day. 2 weeks only they can extend. 3 weeks because sometimes you can ask 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Once they will extend, if you cannot perform, they will send the remainder. That time you can type the email. They can extend. 3 times they can have. You cannot revise a paper for within the time period. After 3 extensions, they will go for next. This is what they will do. So it is possible. You can any journal, you can extend it for your revision statement. Extension. That you can.
like the reviewer asked me to stay as
Yeah. That means you can write politely our country and right now the institution don't even have the this kind of facilities and also very difficult to perform for its years. So you can provide the similar supporting information. What purpose they are asking experience like structural information or relevant composition that you can read this by other studies. You may expand in the current situation. My university we don't have the experience and also not available from the previous lab. It's only one instrument is available. It's very difficult to get in that opportunity to perform with the mindset. So we can provide analysis from the like this, it can be very accurate. Most of the paper they ask me to perform for the answer for it. I cannot do, but I can give the suggestion like justification. Additional studies you can use it. That is one because currently we don't have the facilities. Sometimes we know that they are asking for we perform for the analysis. Sometimes we don't have the instrument is other thing. So we cannot perform again. So we can explain them. Sorry, currently the instrument is under maintenance. We cannot perform this analysis. We can do for the publishing in the future work. And future paper. Like this, you can write now, you can understand your situation. We will also
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They can understand the situation. If you cannot perform for all the questions, they will go for the question. You cannot give for all the questions for the same answer. Sorry. You cannot perform. You can you make a very excuse, 1 or 2 command. You will consider. And most of the commands you can answer now, they will go for. You got it right? So you can do 2 things. You can request, you can just request for the not performing the answer. Extended part of the application. There is option also there. You can go to the job with the submission report, you can click the email, and you can write it. I need for extension for 3 weeks to complete the experiment. Then I will submit for the resolution. And which day you want to submit, then you can take a view of the question. You are using
Question. Okay, I have done insurance that involves a collection program or other. Oh, sudah ya?
Already. Any other question? If there are no more questions, once again, thank you so much for Sandeep to conduct such kind of workshop and also giving an opportunity to visit ITS for 2 weeks program. And also thank you for everyone for working with us and patient to understand the lecture completely 2 hours without any disturbance. I'm very happy to see that because I used to give for this type of lectures for most of the university and students in college. I also conducted workshop because young people they must have the awareness how to write a paper, what is good and do not. That is very important for age generations and age faculty members. So that this is an important workshop. Thank you so much for the wonderful workshop. Mostly benefited the students and as well as the faculty members. Okay, thank you.
Will we share the?
Okay. Later I will give the opportunity to continue the just the last question. Can you able to understand, right? Now? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Suresh, for your lot of information about how to publish in the high impact journal, and we hope that we can follow your tips so that we can publish our paper in high impact journal. And I think because it's already 11 and today is Friday, and some of students, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia, have to go to the mosque. So probably we can stop, and I will give the opportunity to the time to back to Mbak Yasinta. Okay, thank you. And for your information is that Dr. Suresh is among 2% top scientists in the world. Yeah, so we are really great to have opportunity to talk with him. Hopefully that he can join again next year. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh, and also the students in this room, and also in the room. So, is there any more questions from the participant at the Zoom? No more? No more. So, because it is a Friday and we are also Friday prayer, so we would like to proceed this session and look forward to our second session of R2SEP. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Itu enggak kabar. Thank you. Yeah.